Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So I know we've got a lot of new people in these days, and I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing, and I want to give you a little rundown on how my channel works before we get into today's story time. So my name is Megorium. I've been on YouTube for the last 5 years, taking it seriously, posting art, live streaming video games, and just kind of doing my own thing. I treat my channel like a digital locker, like a digital art journal. It's my journey, it's my life. It's sometimes I'm talking about the art, sometimes I'm talking about my life, sometimes I'm doing a story time. Sometimes I'm just hanging out with you guys, and we're just having a good chill time. And there's no rhyme or reason behind anything I do. I do not have a schedule. I just sort of post when I feel like posting and talking about what I feel like talking about in the moment. And this particular story I've been wanting to do for months, but I never really knew when was the right time. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I thought, well, I think I'm ready. Like, personally, I'm ready, to tell my story. So what am I going to draw along with this story? The symbolism that represents how I feel, I decided to draw two hands that are bound together in chains, and the chains are being broken, and there is a bird flying out of the hands. It's representing freedom. It's representing like a weight lifted off your shoulders. You can finally fly. You can finally be yourself, There's nothing weighing you down. There's nothing holding you back anymore. And that's what forgiveness can feel like. It can feel very uplifting, It can feel freeing, So this story is going to have a trigger warning before I get into it. If you are sensitive to things like SA, if that triggers you, if you have PTSD from it and stuff, go ahead and click off the video now, because I don't want you to get sad, When I was 5 years old, I was SA'd by my 13-year-old cousin. And my mom had moved him into our home and used him as a babysitter, essentially. And he hurt me. He did. It was more like an attack, came out of nowhere. And of course, the parents were gone. He was watching us, and it happened. I'm not going to get into any details about what he did, because that's personal, but just know it kind of screwed me up for a little bit. I was very scared and confused, and the day we moved out of state, I was finally brave enough in the car to tell my mom that I was happy we were moving away from him and he had gone back to his parents' house because of the stuff he had done to me. And I told her all the stuff he did, and she, hit the brakes. It's storming out. It's pitch black outside. She finds a payphone, because this is the 90s. We didn't have cell phones back then. She calls the police. Police say, well, there's nothing we can do if you're moving out of state. You have to file in the state that it happened in if you want to pursue any charges. And so she ends up not doing that. We move. She does rip him a new one over the phone. And that's kind of what happened. So fast forward a couple of years, now I'm 8 years old, and you would think that if something like that happened to your kid with a young boy, that you would be a little more protective, but not my parents. No. They're kind of stupid. So they move another family into our house who has another 13, 14-year-old boy, and this boy ends up grooming me. And grooming, it's so different than an outright assault. It is very manipulative. He had me thinking he was my boyfriend. They isolate you, and the way my parents raised us, it's like the kids are left to their own devices. You raise yourself. Y'all keep each other entertained. Don't bother us. We're busy, kind of parents. And so there were plenty of alone time situations where he was manipulating me into believing that he was the only one who loved me, that he was going to take care of me. He was my boyfriend, and I'm 8 years old and I'm just eating it up. I'm eating up the attention, and then it turns into sexual stuff, and then he makes you think that all the stuff you're doing is normal, all the stuff y'all are doing to each other, it's acceptable, and it's good, it's right, and when he finally got caught, there was another woman living with us who caught him messing with me. She told my parents. They pulled him aside. They ripped him a new one. He comes and finds me alone and tells me that he can't be my boyfriend anymore because he doesn't want to get in trouble, so he has to break up with me, and he holds me while I'm crying on him and stuff, which was, God, it's so messed up even saying it out loud, but that's what happened. And as I got older, I was introduced to PORN during this time frame, so that just added another level of, well, this is just what we're supposed to be doing, But as I got older, I realized that I was a victim. I realized that what happened to me was wrong and that it should have never happened. And it made me very angry and resentful. And at first I was taking my anger out on the boys. I was really angry that they did that to me. But then I became an adult. And then I had kids of my own. Now I'm a helicopter parent. I'm always watching my kids. I'm always paranoid that someone's going to hurt them. So I'm overly protective of my girls. I won't let them be alone at my mother's house. I won't take them to family functions. I would rather them be safe. Like the thought of what if someone took my girls into a back room, if I just turned my face away for even a moment, something's going to happen to them. I'm always on edge when I'm around family members. I just can't trust anybody. Boys, girls, men, women, I can't trust anybody. But it was around this time that I became mad at my mom. It's your fault I got hurt. You should have protected me. Why couldn't you do for me what I'm doing for my babies? Why did you make the same mistake twice? And I started having flashbacks. I've been diagnosed with PTSD over it. You never know when a flashback's going to get triggered. You never know when it's going to hit, how you're going to deal with it. And I spent many years just crying, being angry. I had to go to therapy a couple years ago. It helped me. The therapy helped me build back my relationship with my mother. And I, over time, ended up forgiving her. And then now my stepdad, he was abusive, not sexually abusive, just good old fashioned beat the shit out of you kind of abusive. I got my ass handed to me a lot growing up. I ended up forgiving him. We've had a lot of talks. He's in therapy now. He's doing much better. He didn't have the best childhood either. So one day I'm chilling on my porch and I am having another flashback and I am seething. I am so angry. So I go and find him. And he's a hard guy to find because he's been in and out of prison. He's been in and out of jail. He hadn't been on social media. He's hard to find because he has the same name as a celebrity too as well. So I finally, after hours and hours of searching, I find him. And I send him the nastiest, angriest message. Just detailing everything he did to me and how pissed off I was. And I deserved an apology, like a real apology. So the next day he messages me. He's like, I am so sorry. Can I call you? So he calls me, and this man is sobbing. Mind you, he's in his 40s now. Like, I'm 34 years old, he's in his 40s now. He is sobbing. And what really pissed me off is, as I was going through his Facebook page, I noticed that he's turned his life around. He is a Christian now. He is trying to be a good father. He's been in jail for everything from drugs to domestic violence, and now he's just a totally new person. He's born again, and he's trying to live his best life. He owns his own business. He's successful. And I said, how dare you be happy? How dare you have a good life? I was just mad, So now he's on the phone with me, and he's crying, and I just let him cry it out. Finally, because I couldn't understand a word he was saying, finally, he's starting to become more coherent. I can hear him, and he lets me tell my side of my story. He does not interrupt me. He just lets me go, and I'm crying now at this point, and he tells me his childhood story, and come to find out, he was sexually abused when he was growing up by his uncle. I mean, the guy was handcuffed to a bed for days and was essayed over and over again. And because my parents, my whole family is family and blood is thicker than water type of mentality, they don't want to get the police involved. They don't want to get CPS involved. So what do? My mom says, well, let's just get him out of that awful situation and bring him to our house, because we won't hurt him at our house without even having a thought that he might potentially hurt me or my sister, which he ended up hurting me, not my sister. But, that never thought that he'd be a danger to us. But the reality is hurt kids will hurt kids. You have to watch them. You can't just make them become babysitters to your small children. They're going to hurt them, He had no remembrance of doing any of this stuff to me. He has big gaps in his memory from his past abuse that he has shut out, plus all of the drugs that he did, the meth and stuff, messed with his memory as well. He's in therapy. He's in AA. He is on a healing journey of his own. He has a journal where he writes down the steps of memory recovery, and he has a list of names. My name was on the list, but he couldn't remember why my name was so important. But now he can fill in the gap that correlates with the name. We get off the phone, and the next day he calls me again, and now we're just chatting. And I finally forgave him. I told him, I forgive you. I said, it's not your fault that you were a victim of abuse, of SA. And I said, we both had pretty bad childhoods, and our parents let us down. And I said, I can't hold this over your head. You were just a boy, and I was just a girl. And because he was so genuine with his apology, it made it easier for me to accept it, to move on. My whole goal was to just put an end to all of the pain, and if I was to have a flashback in the future, I can combat it. I can say, he's sorry. He didn't mean to. He's sorry. You can move on. You can move past this memory, in the moment. I almost messaged the other guy, but I decided not to. The first one was so emotionally draining. I felt like I don't have to do this a second time. Like, do I have enough strength in me to say I forgive you without having to hear the physical apology, And I had to ask myself that. I had to sit here and really contemplate that. I mean, all this stuff happened like 2-3 months ago, I mean, I've had to sit here and rationalize and just kind of soak in everything that's happened, and I knew I wanted to talk about it because it's such an important topic that happens to so many young boys and girls that whenever you hear another survivor's story, it can help make you feel stronger. It can help make you feel validated. You know, I'm glad I'm not the only one this has happened to. You know, but I want my story, I wanted to share it because I want my story to give you courage. You know, give you courage to take life into your own hands. To say, I am not a victim, I'm a survivor. I thrive, and I am not going to let pain and depression and anxiety and paranoia hold me back anymore. I am going to take over my life, and I am going to grow from this, and I'm going to be the best person I can be, you know. And I'm hoping that my story can give you that encouragement. What's it like forgiving your abuser? For me, it was a relief. It was, if he had been a grown man, I can't say I'd have forgave him, because a grown adult, man or woman, a grown adult knows better. They know better. But a boy, a preteen, I mean, that's been hurt, I could relate to him. Even though he's the one who did it to me, I could relate to him, you know. I don't know about the other boys past, but I know he was a boy as well. He was a boy too. It made it easier for me to say I forgive you. You know, circumstances matter. The situation matters, you know. You can't compare your pain to anyone else's either. You know, you cannot compare. You can't say, well, I had it worse. I had it worse. I could never forgive mine. I had it worse. What you're going through, it's your own journey. It's your own battle that you have to fight. You can take the message and you can let it give you encouragement, or you can just still be seething and still be angry, and that's okay. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to cry. You know, I'm not saying I forgave my abuser and now I'm going to stop being a good mom. I'm always going to be a helicopter mom. I can't help but be their protector, you know. I'm always going to keep them from my family, because in my head, what if my mom makes that same mistake again, you know? And what if I let my children stay the night at grandma's house, and then grandma's not watching them, and then Lord knows who comes to visit, and Lord knows who hurts my babies. I can't do that, you know. I can say I forgive you, I can move on from it, but I'm not going to forget. And I'm going to try to be the best mom I can be, you know. But I feel better, which is the point of all this. I do feel better. I feel like that bird breaking free, like the chains breaking and crumbling and disintegrating. That I can love. I can honestly say I love my cousin. I want him to have a good life. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him being a good person now. And anybody can change. Anybody can change as long as they're putting forth the effort, and they're allowed to change. I shouldn't be angry that he's doing good for himself. I should be happy, because at least I know he's not going to hurt anyone else as an adult, you know. And I'm happy for myself. I'm proud of myself, you know. So yeah, that's my story for today. I hope that you got something from it. You know, I'm proud of myself for being able to finally speak about it without crying, because I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to boo-hoo on the camera. I want to be strong. I want to be brave, you know. So, I'm not sure what my next video is going to be about. I know I've been wanting to do this one for a hot minute. I'm glad I finally did it, got it off my chest, and shared that in my digital locker, in my digital journal, you know. I can always go back to it and watch it again and remind myself that I am brave, that I am a victor, you know. I am successful. I can combat anything that comes my way. And I have the strength to be the bigger person to say, I forgive you, you know. So I can always go back and watch this and remind myself of those things. But yeah, I guess that's it. I guess for all the newbies, sorry this was so heavy. Welcome. Not usually do I have such heavy, burdenous stories. Usually I'm just kind of chit-chatting and talking about my day or whatever, but sometimes things get a little deep, and this is just one of those moments, you know, so. But I hope y'all are having a great day. I hope y'all got a little encouragement out of this story. Don't feel sad for me. Don't feel bad for me. It's okay. I'm not looking for sympathy at all. It's not what this is about. But yeah, thank you for being here though. And I will catch you on the next one. See ya.